Trauma-Informed Schools and Practices by Brady Higgins. What is trauma? Trauma is described as any event that's frightening, dangerous, or violent that threatens a child's life or places them in bodily harm. A few examples of traumatic experiences are physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, experiencing or witnessing domestic violence, exposure to community and school violence, natural and or man-made disasters, terrorism, suicide, and wars. Here are a few effects of trauma that I found online and how they affect a child. Trauma impairs their memory, their concentration, their learning, and focus, which affects their ability to be successful in school settings. Trauma impacts an individual's ability to trust, cope, and form healthy relationships. And this can impair a child from being able to effectively build safe relationships with their other peers in their classroom, and also building those healthy attachments to the teacher as well, because of the traumatic experiences they have been through with other adults that impacts their ability to be able to create trusting relationships with their teacher, which can later develop and manifest in behavioral issues while being in school. So thirdly, trauma disrupts emotion identification, ability to self-soothe or control expressions of emotions, one ability to distinguish between what's safe and unsafe. When children are experiencing these traumatic experiences outside of school, they can go to school, leaving from school and going to school and going back home can be, children are unable to distinguish between safe and unsafe, and so going to school might not be safe as anyone would think it would be for them. It can be just as traumatic because they're having to now deal with their traumatic experiences and just go to school and act like nothing's wrong. A trauma shapes a person's belief about self and others, their ability to have hope, and also their outlook on life. How trauma impacts children's academic success. Traumatic experiences create academic and behavior challenges for children that can affect their educational progress. And this has an effect on the classroom because when teachers aren't able to present their learning material to their classroom and teach full lessons, traumatic experiences manifest through aggression and attendance behaviors, depression or inattention in class, or anxiety and withdrawalness in class, and delayed language and cognitive development. And the things about these examples are sometimes these examples, when kids showcase these and display these examples, people just overlook them or identify them as behavior issues when in fact they're more than that. They're deeply rooted expressions of their traumatic experiences. The problem: teachers aren't equipped to meet the social and emotional needs of children who have experienced significant trauma, and there is a high prevalence rate of trauma of students, school age range, and youth that have experienced trauma. The problem: these traumatic experiences and adverse childhood experiences affect children's ability and their motivation to learn when they go to school. And when teachers aren't trauma-informed, they risk the chance of re-traumatizing a school, which is one of those examples that I said before that makes school no longer a safe place because teachers aren't equipped to know how to properly interact with children who have been experienced to trauma. Teachers don't know, they don't have the skills or the competencies of trauma-informed practices to be able to correctly help the children in their classroom. So the solution would be to have schools use trauma-informed practices inside their classrooms and throughout the entire school. By implementing trauma-informed practices in schools, teachers will become more equipped to better support the cognitive, social, and emotional needs of children who have experienced these traumatic and went through traumatic and other adverse childhood experiences. why have trauma-informed schools? By implementing these practices, the school will become a more safer and more informed community, while also at the same time impacting a child socially and emotionally. Trauma-informed practices also provide children with a safe and supportive learning environment. And the one of the many benefits of becoming a trauma-informed school is that it doesn't just impact the teachers; it impacts everyone that come to that will come across um, a child, from a teacher who they see every day, a bus driver they will see every day in evenings, faculty and other staff, anybody that comes into contact with a child will be trauma informed inside the school, and they will be able to recognize the barriers that trauma creates for children, and also be able to recognize how trauma manifests within a child, and know that it's just more than just a child who's misbehaving and things like that. Teachers and all these other trusted adults will be able to then provide children with the necessary tools to become more successful in school. What a trauma-informed school looks like. There's 5 components of a trauma-informed school, and there are safety, trustworthiness, choice, collaboration, and empowerment. And these are the 5 cornerstones of trauma-informed practices. Safety is ensuring the physical and emotional safety of all students. Trustworthiness, staff and administration incorporating clear boundaries between staff and students. Choice, students are given the opportunity to assert independence and control, which going through traumatic experiences, children lose that option. And so by being more trauma-informed, they will give back the children that ability to have control. Collaboration, students have the chance to advocate for their own needs and preferences during activities in the class. Empowerment, building students' resiliency through this strength-based learning. Some benefits of a trauma-informed practices within the school community is having an improved school climate, improved job satisfaction among teachers, because they're no longer so overwhelmed and highly frustrated when it comes to trying to teach in their classes, and they can't really have students who aren't just acting out or having educational issues. They feel more prepared when they are trauma informed, because they can understand and recognize those symptoms. Retention in new teachers, a reduction of student behaviors and referrals to the office, reduction in student bullying and harassment, reduction in dropout rates, a reduction of staff, a reduction of stress for staff and students, and also a reduction in absences, detentions, and suspensions. And these are my references. Thank you.